All right, so those are the conditional syllogism. One thing that when I was talking about fallacious arguments, the reason why I paused was because I wanted you to walk through them first. And one of the ones that always sticks out to me and reminds me of the slippery slope fallacy, which we will get to if you haven't already seen it in our uh, fallacies that I put throughout the weeks, is the chain argument. And the chain argument is, recall, if A then B, if B then C, A therefore C. What happens sometimes with this? And again, this is how you can argue chain argument, is the fallaciousness within it, meaning all the pieces have to be true in order for the conclusion to be true. So in a chain argument, a fallacious argument would be, if I allow you to turn in your work late, you are then going to always be late with everything you do. Okay, if A, then B. If, and this is B, if you are always going to be late with everything that you do, you will never be able to hold a job. All right, if B, then C. And now we go like this. If you're never going to be able to hold a job, then you will become homeless and everything's going to fall apart. It's going to be terrible. So we can go back to A, bring A. If I allow you to turn in your work late, you will end up homeless and without a job because you will not have learned your lesson. That's a slippery slope. And we know it's a fallacious argument because if we go all the way back to A, if A then B, I hope I'm not losing you there. If I allow you to turn in your work, it's going to, the issue is this second statement about how it is going to absolutely ruin your life is the incorrect statement. So because this premise is incorrect, therefore the conclusion will be incorrect. Gotcha? Okay. So that's how, if you can see a valid argument versus an invalid argument. Okay. Now, sometimes people will do things where they will assume one of the premises in order to give you a conclusion, or the premise is inferred. We call those entomemes. Okay. And I'm giving you a couple examples of entomemes, but first let me walk over what it is. So an entomeme is an argument in which one of the premises, right, is not explicitly stated. So we're making an assumption by one of the statements. We're going to make a main statement. We're going to make maybe a major premise. We're not going to quite give another premise, so you're going to be inferring or guessing what your conclusion is. Sorry for the creepy fingers. This is what happens. Okay. All right, so an entomeme, it uses assumptions. If we're missing one of the premises, then we're making an assumption about what is missing, okay? Now, a syllogism is a key part or parts are implied rather than directly stated. So if we're missing one, we're making an assumption, this is key part is the problem, all right? That's how we know an entomeme isn't going to be a valid argument, because we don't have that one of the premises to tell us. It's not directly stating, so we're just guessing at this point. And that's the point of an entomeme, is to give you a guess. You're assuming based on what you think one of the premises is. Now, the key parts, again, is the major premise, the minor premise, and the conclusion. The reason why they're dangerous is because we're making assumptions. We're missing one of those premises. Premises? We're missing a premises. Well, shoot, I don't know. Anyway, here's the thing. We all do it. This happens all the time. You see it in all kinds of examples. I'm going to give you a couple examples here. People do it on social media all the time. Politicians do it all the time. Like, that's like, I don't even know how you're a politician if you don't do it all the time, right? Because we want you to assume a thing or feel a thing. We don't want you to know a thing. That's the point of an entomeme. We don't want you to really know. We just want you to feel or to think you know. We want you to assume without giving you all the information. Okay. Again, this is the reason why ads do it. When we do our ad assignment, you're going to see, oh, I get it now. Okay. All right. Sometimes the way we challenge people using entomemes is we ask for the warrant, right? We have a claim and we have a conclusion, but we need the reasons or the warrant, right? All right. So warrants, again, are unstated but necessary links between a claim and a reason, right? So here's our claim and then our reason or our conclusion, right? We need the warrant The warrant of the reasons. Okay. Assumptions made by the speaker, let's see here, or writer that connect the claims or reasons. Sorry, I was just reading offhanded my warrants definition. Look it up, it's in the writing, or it's in the notes. Okay, examples of entomemes. You know, I get a little like, it gets exhausting doing all the lectures, so forgive me if my brain goes bzz, bzz. Okay, examples of entomemes. He could not have committed murder. I've known him since he was a kid. He could not have committed the murder. Well, let's do it this way. I've known him since he was a kid. Therefore, he could not have committed murder. What's missing here? The hidden premise is that he was innocent by nature, therefore he could not be the criminal, right? I've known him since he was a kid. He was a good guy. He couldn't have done this, right? That's the assumption, is that he was innocent by nature. With a name like Colgate, it has to be good. All right, conclusion. It has to be good because the name is Colgate. The missing premise here is that Colgate is a prestigious company. Sorry if you can't see my fingers, right? The missing premise is that statement that Colgate is good, all right? With a name like Colgate, it has to be good because with a name like Colgate, what's the word? I'm trying to think how it's in my head, but I keep missing it. With a name like Colgate, it has to be good. With a wait, what's if they're Colgate, they're good. Their name is Colgate, they're good. Therefore, you should trust Colgate. Okay. Whew. It's hard. My brain had to turn all the put in for A and B, right? If you put in for A and B, then you can come up with your conclusion. Okay. All right. He is a U.S. citizen, so he's entitled to due process. Okay. The hidden premise is all citizens of the United States are entitled to a due process. So it would be all U.S. citizens are owed a due process. He is a U.S. citizen, therefore he is owed a due process. Ta-da. Okay. I'm getting better at it. This is the thing about entomemes and using the different categorical syllogism. It's all about practice. Once you start practicing, it's kind of fun. And then when you talk to your friends about it, they're like, I'm sorry, if A, then B, therefore C. What? It's fun. I like to have this conversation with people because it sounds like you're talking a different language. It's just fun. I don't know, because it's such a mind bend sometimes. Like, wait, okay, if A, then B, A, therefore B. So how do I put what into what? It's like a game. I love puzzles. I think that's the thing, is I just really enjoy puzzles. Okay, now that I've like sideswiped over here. One of my favorite examples comes from Seinfeld. But the Seinfeld example is actually pulled from a U.S. vice presidential debate in 1988. I don't know how old I was. I was 7. My God, I'm both old and nerdy. Okay. So, in this 1988 debate, there was Lloyd Benson and Dan Quayle were having a conversation. And so, Lloyd Benson states, Senator, I've served with Jack Kennedy. I've served with Jack Kennedy. I knew Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy. The assumption being Jack Kennedy was a great man. Yeah, he's a great man, but you're not. Okay, anyway, so really quick, I am going to give you the what do you call it, the gymnast video. Take a look at it and see how they play on this this debate using an entomeme.